Alcaraz responds to critics, "I like to party. But tennis comes first." The crowd at Philippe Chatrier is trapped in a constant déjà vu that seems endless. From Rafa Nadal, the outgoing king, to Carlos Alcaraz, the incoming prince. The Mercian's performance in Paris was commanding, against Sinner, his biggest rival, and in their first Grand Slam final. Thus, he conquered his second Roland Garros and is now the second Spanish player with the most Musketeers Cups. This has been the most exciting match I've played so far, without a doubt. Today's match had everything, very good moments, very bad ones. I'm very happy and proud of how I handled it all. It wasn't easy. It's the first match in which I came back from 2 sets down. I don't think there was a better occasion to do it than in a Grand Slam final, he said after the match. With his victory at Roland Garros, Alcaraz silenced all the criticism that had surrounded him. The reason? His documentary released before the Mutua Madrid Open, in which he showed himself as he truly is. Many viewed his mindset, wanting to enjoy life as well as compete at the highest level, as a mistake. He's not going to win Grand Slam staying out until 7 in the morning, said Bautista. His triumph on Philippe Chatrier reflects the hard work of the Mercian and his entire team in achieving glory. "I think it wasn't well understood," began the Mercian, referring to his documentary. "I like going out and partying, like any 21 or 22-year-old guy. But tennis comes first. I'm a professional," Carlitos concluded, and his victory at Roland Garros now backs his words with plenty of substance. Alcaraz has gotten into Sinner's head. And not just because of yesterday's match. A quick look at the Italian's recent match record is enough. Of his last 35 matches, Sinner has won 32 and only lost 3, all to Alcaraz. The 2 most recent ones were on clay, in the finals of Rome and Roland Garros, and the third on hard court in Beijing. The head-to-head now leans heavily in Alcaraz's favor, 5 wins out of their last 5 encounters. This is how much money Carlos Alcaraz earned for his Roland Garros victory, and how much he'll pay in taxes. The Mercian will receive the largest prize purse in the tournament's history, but he pays taxes in Spain, and the tax authority will take a significant portion. Carlos Alcaraz made history at Roland Garros after defeating Jannik Sinner in an epic final that lasted over 5 hours and is already considered the longest final in the history of the Parisian tournament. The Mercian tennis player prevailed in a gripping 4-6, 6-7-4, 6-4, 7-6-3, 7-6-2, coming back from 2 sets down and consolidating his status among the tennis elite. Beyond the trophy and sporting recognition, the triumph comes with a financial prize, but also a significant tax bill. The Roland Garros organization announced that the 2025 edition winners would receive €2.55 million, the largest prize purse in the tournament's history, marking a significant increase from the previous year, when the singles champions received €2.4 million. This increase in prize money reflects the tournament's growth and the equality between the men's and women's competitions. Following his victory on the Philippe Chatrier court, Alcaraz secures an economic reward worthy of the circuit's biggest stars. However, a large portion of that money must go toward taxes, as happens to all professional athletes. Despite Roland Garros taking place in Paris, the Spanish tennis player must pay taxes in Spain for the income earned. According to estimates from the tax advisory firm TaxDown, Alcaraz must declare the full prize amount in his country of residence, meaning that Spain's tax authority will apply an approximate 47.5% tax rate on the gross amount, a result of both the national and regional rates in Murcia, where the player usually resides. Applying this tax burden, the actual prize that Alcaraz would receive after winning Roland Garros would be nearly cut in half. Specifically, if experts already estimated that of the €985,030 earned in Rome, nearly half went to taxes, the situation in Paris is similar but on a larger scale. Thus, from the €2.55 million prize, around €1.34 million would remain in the player's hands, while the Spanish tax authority would collect approximately €1.21 million. It's worth noting that the tax impact in Spain varies depending on the region of residence. For example, if Alcaraz had his fiscal residence in Madrid, the regional portion of the tax rate would be lower. A historic triumph and an inevitable toll. This edition's Roland Garros final will go down in history as one of the most fiercely contested and emotional, both in sporting and economic terms. After more than 5 hours on court, Carlos Alcaraz lifted the most coveted trophy of the clay season. However, the euphoria of victory is accompanied by a harsh reality. Nearly half of his reward will vanish due to taxes, an unavoidable toll for any top-level sports professional. Carlos Alcaraz's big celebration in Paris after winning Roland Garros. This is how the Mercian tennis player celebrated his 5th Grand Slam. Carlos Alcaraz will have a few days off before playing at Queen's. Carlos Alcaraz celebrated his Roland Garros title in grand style after an epic final against Jannik Sinner. In it, he had to come back from the 2 opening sets won by the Italian and also save 3 match points. Drawing from his magic and his full tennis repertoire, Carlitos turned things around to claim the 5th Grand Slam title of his career at just 22 years of age. After speaking to the media at Philippe Chatrier and doing a photo session with the trophy, Alcaraz celebrated the title on Sunday night in Paris surrounded by friends and family who had traveled to the French capital. Carlitos entered the party carrying a smaller replica of the Roland Garros trophy and completely euphoric. All the guests at Alcaraz's party lit small sparklers to celebrate with immersion, and to the rhythm of Bella Ciao, they toasted his 2nd Roland Garros victory. Of course, there was food and drink, as shown in videos posted by attendees on social media. The Mercian, as expected, popped a bottle of champagne and drank straight from it to kick off a celebration that went long into the Parisian night. Alcaraz will now have a few days of vacation before preparing for Queen's, the tournament that precedes Wimbledon. The French press bows to Alcaraz. The triumph of Spanish tennis player Carlos Alcaraz at Roland Garros, after a historic 5.5-hour final in which Italian Jannik Sinner won the first 2 sets, captured Monday's front pages of the French sports press, which described the day as legendary and unforgettable. There's no point in using fancy phrases and big words, they won't be enough to describe what was experienced in Paris on the center court. Philippe Chatrier begins the report from L'Équipe, which features a front-page photo of the heartfelt embrace between Sinner and Alcaraz and the headline 5H29 of legend. The paper highlights the quality of play in what was the first Grand Slam final between the world's number 1 and number 2, they made it a monument. Alcaraz, who survived 3 match points and prevailed in a final super tie break, had key audacity to tilt the match in his favor, according to Le Parisien, which calls the final historic, extraordinary, and astonishing, and features a sidebar image of the Spaniard lifting the trophy. Legenda Rai. Simply put, begins the Parisian Daily's analysis, adding, cheered on by a crowd completely behind his cause against the implacable world number 1, Alcaraz, who had never before come back from 2 sets down in a major tournament, delivered an extraordinary performance. Unique. Masterful. Le Parisien is not the only outlet to also recall Rafael Nadal, the player with the most Roland Garros titles in history, 14, and who sees in Alcaraz a worthy successor to the Mallorcan on the clay courts of Western Paris. Le Figaro, for its part, dedicates the cover to a photo of Alcaraz kissing his 5th Grand Slam trophy and praises the Mercian's ability to win long matches and overcome adverse scorelines. He draws strength and confidence from it, which allows him to keep believing over and over and to turn around even the worst matches. Are we witnessing the greatest Roland Garros final of all time? After more than 5.5 hours of epic tennis, the answer is a resounding yes. Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner played a historic duel that will be etched in golden letters in the history of the sport. The young Mercian claimed his 2nd Roland Garros, saved 3 match points, and delivered a commanding final super tie break that sealed a feat worthy of legend. Stay, because what happened at Philippe Chatrier wasn't just a match. It was a movie. The final between Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner began at an extremely high pace. The Italian, world number 1, started by dominating the match with authority. His shots were precise, his serve nearly unbreakable, and his focus total. In that first hour, the Mercian, though solid, couldn't trouble the Italian. Sinner took the first set 6-4 and seemed to have full control. The second set started similarly. Sinner went up 5-2, and though Alcaraz launched a spectacular comeback to level at 5-5, the tie-break again tilted in the Italian's favor. 7-6 for Jannik, and the world number 1 was just 1 set away from his first Roland Garros. But if there's one thing Carlos Alcaraz has, it's pride, heart, and unbreakable determination. He wasn't ready to give up. The third set marked a turning point. Alcaraz began to loosen up, dictate the points, and push Sinner deep behind the baseline. With a clear 6-4, he was back in the match. The tide had turned, and the Philippe Chatrier crowd felt it. But the best was yet to come. The fourth set was a thriller. Sinner, with his usual calm, broke the Mercian's serve early. He reached the 10th game with a 5-4 lead and triple championship point. 3 points from glory. But then, the genius from El Palmer emerged. Carlos saved those 3 match points with courage, grit, and simply spectacular tennis. In the tie-break, it was Alcaraz who set the pace. He raised the level, forced Sinner into errors that hadn't existed earlier. 7-6 for the Spaniard. Set tied. The stadium roared. Hearts beat to the rhythm of every point. The fifth set wouldn't just be a continuation, it would be a masterpiece. Alcaraz broke the Italian's serve early and built a lead that seemed decisive. He dominated most of the set, and when he served for the match, Sinner responded. He broke Carlitos's serve with a flawless game and forced an even more dramatic ending, the super tiebreak. And there, in that tension-filled climax, the best version of Alcaraz appeared. The champion. The one who thrives under pressure. The one who turns the impossible into spectacle. With a crushing 10-2, he closed out the match and fell to the ground, knowing he had just written an unforgettable chapter in tennis history. Carlos Alcaraz becomes the first player to win his first 5 Grand Slam finals. And he's done it in grand fashion, in a match lasting over 5 hours, against the world number 1, saving 3 match points. He's proven that he doesn't just have the physicality and talent, but also the mentality, the heart, and the hunger for greatness. His second Roland Garros, his 5th major, and probably his most epic victory so far. Alcaraz is no longer the future. He is the present. And he's building a legacy aimed straight at sports history. The final between Alcaraz and Sinner wasn't just a match, it was a life lesson. Of fighting, resilience, and believing until the very end. If you got emotional with every point, every drop shot, every roar of celebration, you're not alone. This match reminded us why we love tennis. During the award ceremony, Alcaraz addressed the crowd, but especially his rival, with a message as sincere as it was powerful. The level you play at is incredible. I know how much you're chasing this tournament. You will be champion, not once, but several times. It's a privilege to make history with you. You're a huge inspiration to the youth and to many people, including myself. These words reflect not just respect, but also a deep mutual admiration that goes beyond competition. Because yes, Alcaraz won the final, but he knew how to recognize Sinner's role in a match that needed both of them to become legendary.